In race for Seattle mayor, socialist candidate Katie Wilson addresses Momgate. She's getting $2,200 a month every few months from her parents towards daycare expenses. Now, she's going to lead Seattle into the promised land. Seattle's got a budget of like $9 billion, and she's never really held a substantial job, run a business, had a payroll, or anything even marginally related to being mayor. But hey, let's go ahead and elect her mayor of Seattle because, shenanigans. Let's get into it. Here we go. Half jokingly referring to it as the first scandal of my political life, Bruce Harrell, challenger, Katie Wilson. And she is up on Bruce Harrell by like 10 points in that primary. She's produced a smart video response into what is calling Momgate. After the incumbent's campaign seized on last week's report from KUOW, and that is right here. We're going to look at that for a second, and we've covered that. This is some great reporting from KUOW, and this is a good little piece here from Capitol Hill Seattle blog. Both very liberal, far left-leaning, but yeah, I'll read from anything because I don't care. I'm crazy that way, right? Let's watch the video. Let's watch, and this is a shockingly well done, and because we're reasonable here, this is a shockingly well done, and let's watch it.
I'm Katie Wilson, and I'm running for Seattle mayor. I want to address the very first scandal of my political life. Now, I don't have years of experience managing scandals like my opponent does, so bear with me. A few days ago, it felt like everyone in Seattle got this text message from Harrell's campaign about me. Mom, did you hear about this?
No. Let's see it. Katie Wilson's...
Hear that? Ooh. That's the air coming out of the balloon of this story. She's got her mom in there. Mom's going to say, yep, here we go.
Campaign built around working class identity, but parents pay her bills? So is this about Josie, my granddaughter's child care? I mean... Doesn't he know that childcare is really expensive in Seattle and aren't families supposed to take care of each other?
Yeah, honestly, I think he's kind of out of touch. I mean, Harrell's been in office for almost 2 decades, and now he's suddenly talking about affordability. He even says that he wants to expand childcare.
Well, that's good, but right before the election, seems kind of strategic.
Yeah, he's saying a lot about how he wants to help working families and stand up against corporate interests. But you know what? There's $2 million in big money betting that he doesn't follow through.
That is $2 million I do not have to give you, my dear.
That's okay, Mom. I really appreciate you chipping in for childcare during a stressful campaign. And I also know that a lot of families aren't that lucky. That's why I'm going to fight for affordable childcare and affordable housing so that working families can live in this city.
That's my Katie. All right, moms and grandmas, get out there and vote.
God, she's going to be our mayor. She's going to be Seattle mayor. I kid you not. My friends. I mean, it's all right. So it's $2,200 a month that she gets. Because childcare is so expensive. Why is everything so gosh darn expensive in Seattle? Because you've had years and years and years of Democrat-led control heaping on all these crazy expenses and then paying for it with taxes for nonsense we don't need. That's the bottom line. That is why things are so expensive in big blue liberal cities. You got so much just absolute nonsense that everything costs more. Hey, let's raise the minimum wage for, people who feed elephants at the zoo to $26 an hour, and we'll see how that goes. And then all the zookeepers go, we can't afford it. You're fired. Those minimum wages go from 26 to 0. Businesses leave. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. So she is the end result of somebody who can't afford Seattle. $2,200 a month for childcare. I mean, that's a significant contribution. That is not chipping in. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm gonna. At age 43, I didn't have childcare. I had a freshman at the University of Washington. I owned 2 businesses. I had payroll. I had expenses. I had an office space. I had a whole bunch of nonsense, right? I had an ex-wife. I had massive divorce payments. I mean, it was, just life, normal life stuff, right? I had a junior in high school coming up, he's going to be graduating. I was going to have 2 kids in college, very, very shortly. I didn't have parents I didn't ask for help from my parents to cover all that, because that's not how this game is played. If you can't pay, you don't play. Meaning, if you can't pay the costs, get the F out. That's kind of how it goes. And leaning on people for a little bit of expenses every now and then, but $2,200 a month for childcare? Are you effing kidding me? How privileged is that? How privileged is that? This is a young lady that I believe, did she go to Oxford? I think she went to Oxford, and 6 weeks inside of graduating, she was just 6 weeks from graduating, she dropped out to go hang out with her now husband, with her boyfriend at the time, to go travel or something. Didn't, had the ability to not really get a college education because she knew her parents would pay for a bunch of nonsense that would allow her lifestyle to continue the way it is. So would I be paying $2,200 for my kids' childcare? Hell no. Will I babysit? Absolutely. But you got to cover your bills on your own. Otherwise, you need to make some adjustments and get on the right track financially. Because, Momgate, what a bunch of nonsense. And that's how the kids, and I'm kind of shocked that she's age 43 and has a background, has a resume that she's basically done nothing of substance. She's done nothing of substance. And yet, let's elect her, mayor of one of the United States' big North American cities, and we'll just see how it goes. So, that video was very well done, in my opinion, from the standpoint of you got a bunch of millennial kids going, yeah, I wish my parents would chip in like grandma there. Oh, she's great. This is the best thing ever. Katie really understands what I'm going through. Okay. That doesn't translate to her running a city with a budget of $9 billion and like 41 separate departments. You hear Bruce Harrell, and we're really going to miss Bruce Harrell. I hope he wins, but I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that he does, because Seattle is so full of just nonsensical people that they just ricochet from ideology to ideology, from bad to worse to progressively worse to, and they hired Bruce Harrell because he was seen as somewhat of a moderate coming out of the whole fentanyl Floyd debacle that was the summer of 2020. They saw Bruce Harrell as, hey, maybe he can lead us back to the promised land. And he's done a decent job taking what was here in Seattle and kind of working with it. But if Katie Wilson gets in office, just like Mom Donnie in New York City, we're going to be off to the races with shenanigans, in my opinion, because she herself won't be able to screw up too much. But what she will bring in, and what I think is going to happen, some other very close contested races, you're going to have more people with a social mindset than a capitalist mindset. And you need people that are willing to battle and say, hey, Seattle's worth fighting for. Here's how we do that. We actually have to come down hard on criminals. We actually have to come down hard on drug dealers. We actually have to come down hard on homelessness and people taking drugs in our public spaces, all that stuff to get back in better shape. But with the ideology in Seattle and Portland and San Francisco and LA, that ain't going to happen anytime soon. There's massive resistance to that. You're going to have the police involved. Never happen. And, Katie Wilson, basically, she supported defunding the police, just like Mom Donnie did. It was what they said was the greatest thing ever back in the summer of love. Remember that? Everybody was like, oh, defund the police. Wasn't it horrible that fentanyl Floyd died? Right? Right? I mean, that was the big thing, right? That was the big thing. Let's look at Cairo News Radio. look at Katie Wilson's background as a Seattle mayoral frontrunner. One of the clips that I tried to find was Brandy Cruz had an amazing clip kind of showing this is Bruce Harrell's background and his qualifications for running the city of Seattle, and then Katie Wilson's background. And it was really it was shocking and stunning. And I've read these news stories, right? In doing podcasts, but this is kind of another one of those. But it was maybe a week ago or something. I've been watching a lot of Brandy Cruz in the morning because this kind of stuff right here, you're just like, oh, is this going to happen? God, I only hope so. Because, I mean, podcasts for days, weeks. This is Charlie Harger, Cairo. I don't do endorsements. I live outside city limits, but I work here and I care who runs the place. That's me. I even lease space in Seattle. Yesterday was Bruce Harrell. Today was Katie Wilson, who's leading in recent polls. We've had Katie on the show. She's thoughtful and she genuinely cares about people getting priced out of Seattle. I get the appeal. That is what is going to allow her to win. People have been priced out of everything because of progressive policy. They're leaving and going to Texas, Florida, the Carolinas, and Arizona, right? Those are the top 5 places people are going, population-wise. So he says, I get the appeal. The housing math in this city is brutal. I'm a real estate managing broker. I own a real estate brokerage with like 100 and something brokers. The math is brutal. Here it is. This is why people aren't buying homes. Median home price is $885,000. You need a down payment of $175,000 with about a $5,000 a month payment and an income of around $200,000 to qualify. Median home price. Half or below, half or above. I mean, and at $885,000, you're not getting much. You're getting one of those cereal box homes. You know, it's 1 level and it's, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and you're looking right into your neighbor's kitchen. Yeah, it's one of those 0 lot line, single family PUD. So you've got a whole bunch of people in Seattle, a lot of young people that are mathing the housing math and going, oh, yeah, Katie says free housing. We're going to go with her. Katie's getting free child care from her parents. Maybe she'll give us some of that action, right? How many young couples here have that? Right. So when Wilson says there's another way, people listen. Mom Donnie, same thing. Hey, you can't afford your groceries? I get it. I hear you. I'm with you. City-run grocery store. Never worked before, but this is going to be that one time that progressive socialism and all that other crap ideology, it's going to work this time. Just like communism, right? Katie Wilson's proposal? Solutions to Seattle's problems. Her answer? Social housing, rent control, using public land for affordable development, redirecting money towards getting people housed now instead of waiting years for new construction. Now, yesterday, I basically ripped apart her entire affordable housing ideas because I just went on her website. I'm a real estate guy. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. This kind of stuff, it doesn't work. But if you want to put her in the office, I'm game. I'll get out the popcorn. I'll watch and see what happens. Same thing with Mom Donnie. Hey, let's just see what happens. Because every 20, 25 years, you need to have a socialist in office so that you can remind yourself how shitty the policies really are. And who pays for them? Taxpayers pay for them, right? Socialism works for those who don't. It's on my coffee cups. Ah, it's right here. Yeah, right. There we go. Right? I mean, it couldn't be more true, right? Let's talk experience. Wilson runs the Transit Riders Union, no paid employees, approximate $200,000 budget, and they've lost money 3 years running. She doesn't draw a salary. When I see Wilson running for mayor, I think of Loren Culp running for governor. Remember him? Conservative small town police chief, managed one officer, cared about his community, but we knew the jump to running a state government was too big. Now progressives are making a similar leap with Wilson. She's equally passionate, but a job managing a staff of volunteers, small staff of volunteers, isn't preparation for running Seattle either. Different sides of the political spectrum, same question about readiness. Just because you agree with someone's political leanings doesn't mean they're qualified to do the job. Experience matters, even when the person shares your values. Wilson is 43 years old and has never held a steady-paying job for more than a couple of years. Most people her age have decades of work history. I had 25 years of work history in the appraisal industry, 20 years in the real estate brokerage industry at that point. And a partridge in a pear tree of other responsibilities. Meeting deadlines and dealing with difficult bosses. That experience matters when you're asking to be everyone else's boss. Her husband doesn't have a job. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Her parents are helping pay for daycare, $2,200 a month, while Wilson campaigns for mayor. Look, that's real life for a lot of people, but that doesn't mean they're qualified to be the mayor of Seattle. But, I'm a gambler. Let's watch that. Let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens. Hey, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? But running a major American city with a $9 billion budget and 41 departments? Question mark? That's where the whole socialism, communism, whatever, they have these ideologies that just in reality, they sound great, but in reality, they don't work. And we need to have people like this every now and then to remind us, oh yeah, we tried that. This is 2025's version of that. That's what this is. Mamdani is the same thing, right? The skill gap here is enormous. We're talking about two completely different worlds. Here's the thing about being a mayor. It's not just about identifying problems. It's about fixing them every day. Police, fire, utilities, transportation, housing, human services, union contracts, federal requirements, dozens of decisions that affect real people in real time. It's a lot, and it could be overwhelming for someone with such little experience. Good intentions don't balance budgets or keep streets safe. That is what, in a nutshell, all these progressives have good intentions. We want to help out humanity. We have so much compassion. And literally, they're just pulling out that handgun and shooting themselves, boom, right in the foot. Just big hole right through their foot. And then they smile and go, let's try that again. This is great. If she wins, I hope her first call, this is funny. If she wins, I hope her first call is to someone who knows how to balance a budget. Number one. Second call should be to someone who's managed a large group of paid employees. You mean like a boss? Oh, yeah. In the first one, balance a budget. You mean like a business owner? Somebody, I don't know, just even, small husband, wife, family with a kid who doesn't have to get money from their parents to make their budget go. I mean, like that? Yeah, okay, all right. Her third call should be probably to someone who's actually worked in government. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Yeah. But nobody in government is helping us. That's what the millennials are thinking. And Generation Y and Z and whatever else the F there's out there. I don't even know anymore. I don't even care. Because I'm Generation X, and we're probably the greatest generation of all time. That's just how it goes. Plus, Generation X, what a cool name. Generation Y? I mean, when you say Generation Y, you kind of think, yeah, why? That's a terrible one. You got the Y? Oh, bad. That's terrible. So somebody who actually works in government. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense, doesn't it? So let's recap here. All right. Budget. Somebody's done a budget who doesn't need $2,200 a month from her parents. All right. Managed a large group of paid employees like a boss, or even just a manager, right? Just manager. And then somebody who's had a job in government. And Bruce Harrell has proven he has the ability. I don't agree with a lot of his policies. I don't agree with Bruce Harrell calling people who go to church far-right extremists, that kind of thing. But he's competing with the nut jobs that are going to elect Katie Wilson, those folks on the far left, and all the people in Seattle that are just mentally challenged, and they think that somehow socialism is going to work this time. This is the time it's going to work. It's going to work for me. I'm going to get some free housing. I'm going to get some free. Yeah, that's not what they need. What they need is responsible leadership. This is not it, my friends. Because it looks increasingly like Seattle's about to elect someone whose management experience is with the staff of the volunteers and a budget smaller than what the city spends on coffee. I mean, that's how he ends his article. Because it looks increasingly like Seattle is about to elect someone whose management experience is with a staff of volunteers and a budget smaller than what the city spends on coffee. Oh, this could be tricky. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be epic. Because we will watch. You've got a system that's already set up for failure. Everything is so wildly expensive already. Housing, I mean, you name it, everything in this city. We have the most expensive Uber rides. We have the most expensive DoorDash. We have the most expensive minimum wages for so many different things. We have the most expensive housing. We have the most expensive, you name it. Seattle is covering it. A lot of it has to do with all the money that's been pumped into our area from the tech bros. But now what's going on is the tech bros, Amazon's, canning 30,000 people, 14,000 in management, something like that, and 2,300 here in Seattle, because they're doing a little, corporate furlough, corporate layoff, we'll see if we need you down the road. So you got some of that going on, whereas we've had just hiring, and all these folks that have just a ton of tech bro money in Seattle, that's going the wrong direction. So you put a Katie Wilson in there that has no real life experience on any one of these things, and a market that is already tweaked from the standpoint of, hey, let's try and squeeze as much money out of the constituents as humanly possible to fund all of this nonsense. And that's what it is. Seattle has so many nonsensical projects going on that you're kind of left with spending money on what? Doing what? What? And you don't have enough cops. We don't have enough cops. And everybody knows we're trying to hire more cops. But then you're literally looking at electing somebody who said defund the police. She said defund the police. So is Mom Donnie. So is every other socialist, right? They just have. That's the far left game. Any kind of authority is terrible, especially police. We hate the police. But then, something happens bad to them and 911, they are on the dial, right? They are on the ready. So, me personally, I want to see Katie Wilson get elected. Because, podcasts for days, weeks, months, the drill. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff, because we got podcasts coming. Well, we're going to have podcasts literally you got it. We'll catch up soon. Bye for now.